For this practice, you can get yourself a set of blocks, a pillow or cushion, and a blanket. If you don't have one of those or any of those, that's okay. You can do this practice without. Let's begin standing in mountain pose. We're going to march the legs alternating sides, trying to bring the knee up to at least hip height. Next, we bring the knee up and out, again alternating sides. Stepping your feet to a wide stance, toes slightly turned out. Hands on your thighs, bend to a goddess pose. We're going to press through that right hand, opening up that hip a little bit more, twisting through the upper body. Then over to the other side, pressing deeply through that left hand to open up that side. To center, position your forearms to the inner thighs, shifting your weight a little from side to side as we open our hips a little bit more. Lowering to your right side in a low side lunge. Toes can turn up or stay down on the mat. You can keep your hands down here to focus on the stretch of this pose versus the strength and balance. Shifting over to the left side, once again we can point our toes up or lower them down to the mat. Take your time shifting around to find a position that feels really good. Pressing back up to standing, shimmy your feet in to hip distance apart. We're going to exhale to a forward fold, keeping our back flat, bending our knees as much as we need to do that. Here you can grab your blocks and position your hands on them to help you focus more on the stretch through the back of the legs and releasing the lower back. From this position, you can keep your back more flat, and maybe you can straighten your legs a little bit more. Engage the legs, returning to standing. Shift your feet just slightly wider than shoulder width apart, toes turned out. We lower to a garland pose. Arms to the inner edges of the legs. We bring our hands together in Anjali Mudra. Here you can grab your cushion or a block and position it under your seat to help you focus on sitting upright, getting long through the spine and neck as we focus on opening up through the hips. Setting the cushion aside, we're going to go into a frog stretch. From a kneeling position, we get wide through the legs, lining up our heels behind our knees, forming a 90-degree angle. Try to keep your hips in line with your knees without leaning forward or back. You can stay up on your hands here or lower down to your forearms. To release frog, we bring our feet together, knees together. And from a kneeling position, we're going to press to downward facing dog. Feel free to pedal out your heels here or hold the stretch. Drawing the right knee forward, we move to a pigeon pose, keeping our hips squared off to the mat. Get long through the back and neck before folding over that front leg, deepening the stretch through the hips. Pressing back to tabletop position, draw the left knee forward to pigeon pose. Pressing back to tabletop position, take your blanket or your cushion and position it at the center of your mat. Place your left knee on the blanket or cushion and send that right foot forward, coming to a low lunge. Line up that right ankle beneath the knee. Big inhale, and then exhale, we sink into the hips. Our hands can be down on the mat, on our leg, or at our waist. Bringing the hands down, we're going to shift to a half split and back. Doing this a few more times, trying to get a little bit deeper into our half split with each stretch, folding over that front leg. On this next one, we're going to hold in a half split, folding over as deeply as we like. Coming forward to our low lunge, we're going to drop that right knee out to the side, rotating onto the outer edge of the foot. You can stay here or draw that left foot up and pulling it in with the right hand in a twist and quad stretch. Let's release. Take the time to shift your blanket or cushion as needed, where we are going to rest our right knee, and then send that left foot forward to a low lunge. Once again, focusing on getting deep into the hip stretch here. Hands down, shifting the hips back to a half split and forward. A few more times, aiming to fold over that front leg a little bit more with each half split. On this next one, we hold in a half split. Coming forward, we rotate onto the outer edge of the left foot. Stay here or reach the left hand back to grab onto that right foot as we draw it in for a quad stretch in a lizard twist. Releasing to table, we press to downward facing dog. In down dog, we're going to come up onto our tiptoes as high as we can and lower. Do it again and lower. Keep going, really stretching through the toes, the arches of the feet, and the ankles. Last one. We can step or hop through to make your way to a seated position, sitting on your blanket or your cushion. Knees bent, with our hands behind us. Cross your right leg over the left, opening up the hip to bring the knee in line with the ankle. Press through your hands to lean the body forward in a figure 4 stretch. Leaning back to release the legs, we're going to cross the left leg over right this time. Once again, pressing the body forward to deepen the figure 4 stretch. Release, extending your legs ahead of you, still sitting on your blanket or cushion or even on a block to keep the hips elevated. With a slight bend in the knees, let's forward fold as we reach for our ankles, keeping our back and neck long, chest lifted. If you feel comfortable doing so, you can straighten out your legs here. Let's open up to a seated wide angle position. Feet can be flexed or toes pointed. We're going to walk the hands forward, keeping the back flat, to a small fold. If you can lower all the way down to your forearms. Good. Releasing the fold. Let's bring the soles of our feet together in a bound angle position. Holding onto the feet or ankles, get long through the back and neck. You can stay in this bound angle position, or we can go into a front split. Starting on your weaker side first, you can use your blocks here to help you if you don't yet have a full split. You can place the block where it's most comfortable for you, beneath your front leg near the hip or the back leg. This might allow you to lower a little bit more safely into the stretch. Releasing the split on the weaker side and going into your stronger side now. Once again, using the blocks as needed, keeping those hips squared off to the mat. Hands stay down for support until we are completely flush. Good, let's release that split and return to our bound angle position. Sitting up tall, we can hold onto our feet or rest our hands on our knees, palms facing out, releasing any tension you might feel through the hips or legs here and allowing gravity to draw the knees down towards the earth. If this is comfortable, you can continue to hold a bound angle position or shift your legs to an easy pose. Hands on your knees or folded in your lap, we take a few deep breaths here to finish up.